Hello, everybody. We had a long day. Day 6 of this adventure from Flint, Michigan, back home to Oregon. Um, so we left Sydney, Nebraska this morning, and I say day 6 because this would have been day 6, even though we are actually here in Pocatello, Idaho. We drove all the way from western Nebraska to eastern Idaho, and we did it in one day. But it's like well after midnight. It's like almost 1 a.m. now. But we did it. We got, it was a pretty long stretch, but kind of got back on track because I was trying to get us home by Monday or Tuesday at the latest, and it looks like we leave Pocatello tomorrow. We'll likely stop at in either Boise or Ontario, Oregon, and then the following day, we'll be in leisure, trek across, the state of Oregon, and we'll be wherever we go. That's where we'll be. That's forgive me, I'm tired. Stefan's tired. So highlights. So highlights are we left Nebraska. We gassed up. For some reason, I thought that gas was like $2.54, and it ended up being $3.54. And but we put in just the right amount, and we got topped off, and we made it all the way to where. I think we gassed up again somewhere else, but now I can't remember where it was. All right, so the big highlight of there's a couple highlights of Wyoming. There is that as we drove through, Stefan said, "Hey, go take this next rest stop," and I was like, "Hey, I was going to take that next rest stop anyway because I wanted to show you this Lincoln Memorial Monument thing." That's on, it's a big 48.5-foot statue. I never knew why they had, because, Lincoln never made it this far west. I didn't understand why there was a Lincoln Memorial Highway, other than, so here's the breakdown. It was commissioned in 1959, or it was commissioned for 1959 being the 150th birthday of President Lincoln. So it was the state of Wyoming wanting to do something special for Abraham Lincoln. So that's what that was, and so we were there. I have to say, I'm sorry, state of Wyoming, but your restroom facilities were absolutely deplorable. One stall was filled with fecal matter, and it was gross, and the other stall had 0 toilet paper. I don't know about the third stall. I think it had some, because I overheard one guy saying to the other, "Hey, can you pass me some toilet paper?" And it was kind of embarrassing, but I had my own wipes, so I was good. And it just kind of it wasn't there, and there was nobody there to like kind of clean up there, so it was like the state of Wyoming had to get an F on that one for that particular rest stop. The next rest stop we went to was it was like day and night. It was much cleaner. So that was that, and that monument is just outside of Laramie on the east end. Going eastbound, it's on the outside of Laramie. Really cool. Like, if you ever want to see it, it's, like I said, it's a 48.5-foot statue. The actual bust, the head bust of Lincoln is like 13 feet long, tall. Little other tidbits on that is like it took 4,500 pounds of clay just to make the molds. And then it was actually 30, like when the bust was made and all that, it actually was 30, I want to say it was brass. I think they made it out of brass. The brass pieces, there was 30 pieces that were like bolted together to make the the head bust of President Lincoln. So we did that. We went through there. We had quite a few stops along the way. We ended up in, I believe it was Green River, Wyoming. I mean, we went through Rollins, we went through Green River. There was a tunnel there.
One job, Bill. You had one job.
I had one job, and that was to go through the tunnel. Well, I went the wrong way, and we were looking for lodging. We were going to stay there, and we were looking for lodging there, but then kind of got frustrated, and it's like, you know what, just push on. Let's just go to Pocatello. So we did. And so yeah, he's given me grief because we didn't go through a tunnel. We actually, Google Maps kind of took us a roundabout way, and then we kind of bypassed that tunnel. So yeah, sorry. I realized I had one job. It was to take us through the tunnel. Yeah. We stopped at Little America, and we got something to eat there. The food was amazing. It really is kind of a cool place there. I mean, everything's kind of, it's spendy. It's like, so think of like, it's like a shopping mall truck stop. I've never been to a Buc-ee's back east. I guess I kind of sort of could be something like a Buc-ee's, which is like a Buc-ee's back east is a chain that does, like, they have food, they have, it's a restaurant, and it's like a gift shop, kind of thing. And I always kind of equated Buc-ee's as like a Cracker Barrel meets truck stop. Well, Little America is kind of along those lines. They're very proud of their motel rooms at $129 a night. But it was good, and we made it through. We went through the mountain passes. Okay, we just we pushed hard, and we're very tired. So we got a place here in Pocatello, and we actually got that was my knuckle cracking. If you heard that, sorry. We have a late checkout, but it shouldn't be too egregious, really, because I mean, like, I was here in Pocatello 2 years ago, and I pushed all through. Like, when I left fairly early, like the 9 o'clock hour or something like that, and I pushed pretty hard, and it was like an 11-hour drive, and I knew that it was going to be an 11-hour drive, and I didn't get back home until like 10:30 that night. He's not going to be able to do another hard drive like we did tonight, because it's pretty exhausting for him, and well, for me too. So tomorrow when we leave, we're going to leave whenever it is when we leave, whether 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 a.m., 1 p.m., whatever, noon. We're going to go, there's one more stop that along the way that I want to show him before we just concentrate on going home, and it's going to be in Eden, Idaho. There's a truck stop over there. It's like a traveler's oasis, I think is what it's called, but they actually have like this little Garden of Eden motif thing inside their convenience store. And it is kind of cool. I took pictures of it before when I came home. I took pictures of when I went to Kentucky, and I took pictures. I made sure to stop there again on the way back home 2 years ago from Kentucky. So I want to kind of show them that. I mean, because I'm geeking out. I think it's kind of cool. But that's about it. We have, if we stop in either Boise or Ontario, then it's an easy day getting back to the Portland area the following day. So that's the tentative plan. And then I can most likely go back to work probably Wednesday. So I'll work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and not have to burn those days for PTO. I could save 3 days there. So I probably should give myself a day buffer before I go back to work. I need to call them anyway to let them know that I'm back in town. And so that's the tentative plan. We've been doing great. Thanks for tuning in and watching and encouraging us. And those of you who've been watching this and have been praying for us, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. We haven't had any real major issues. We really haven't. I really feel like that we have had the blessing of the Lord on this trip. Actually, funny thing is that when we just got out of Wyoming and into Idaho. I mean, I need to share the story because it's kind of cool. For me anyway, I mean, it seemed like it was a sign. So I'm plugging along. I'm doing 70, 75 miles because that is the speed limit. And I'm plugging along. It's getting dark. We do have headlights on, but it's starting to rain. And, I don't know those windy roads that well. And so it started to spit rain, and it was spitting harder and harder and harder. So I had to keep adjusting the wipers to wipe faster and faster and faster. And at one point, I decided I should probably just go ahead and slow down just to be on the safe side. And as I slowed down, the rain let up. And so I kind of had to let out a chuckle. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I kind of took it as a sign. It was like the Lord was saying, slow down. That's all, just slow down. So I did, and the rain let up, and I was talking to Stephen. I'm like, I think that was a sign. And he's like, a sign of what? And I was explaining it to him, and then the rain kind of started to come down, not nearly as heavy, if that's the right word, as before, but it kind of came back down again. I'm like, all right, you know what? Still, I'm just message received. And I wasn't going too terribly fast. Not, I wasn't being reckless or anything, but I don't know. I know that I trust in the Lord, and that and sometimes He just says, He puts an obstacle in your way. You don't have any rhyme or reason as to why, but it's and sometimes you'll never know. But it's probably one of those things where it just probably saved you a major catastrophe later on down the line. Who knows? I don't know. But we did run into a few areas there where there were signs that says watch out for wildlife, and of course Stephen, being Stephen, is reminding me of water buffalo. And for those of you who don't know, who are watching this video, so Thursday night, Friday morning of last week, I'm driving home from work. I left work, got something to eat, got gas, and I was on my way home, and I was driving on this stretch, I was almost home, really. I was 18 minutes away from home or whatever, and I was driving down this stretch of county road that's unlit, and there's a ranch on that road that has 200 head of Asian water buffalo, and one of them was out on the road. And by the time I saw it and braked, it was about the time that it braked me, because it stopped me because I hit it full on broadside, and it went into a ditch, and my truck was totaled. The insurance company, what was it, on the second, it was either September 2nd or September 3rd, they called me. We were in Indiana, and they basically, we stopped a little bit and we waited at the rest stop so that I could conclude that call with the insurance company. And they basically said that since I didn't have collision, they can't help me. So now once I get home, I have to go sue the ranch to replace my truck, because it's their fault that their livestock was on a public roadway where it shouldn't have been, and it caused the accident. The cop wrote it up as, they were at fault. The insurance company basically chalked it up as they're at fault. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to sue. I was hoping that it could be amicable and and that someone, either the insurance company or this guy, just replaces my truck. So now I got to go get a lawyer and have them send a strongly worded letter to the ranch and say, hey, yes, you have a dead animal because it died. They had to put it down, but you also owe this guy a pickup truck because, that's what happened. And as upset about it as I am, the reality is I keep going back to the notion that it's one of those things where, better that it had been me than somebody else, because if it had been someone in a passenger car or a motorcycle, for crying out loud, hopefully that never happens, but we're talking death, right? This is a 2,000 plus pound animal, and I was in a Ram 1500, and that truck did its job. It protected me. I didn't really get hurt too much. I had a little bit of back pain, but it's kind of gone now. And I don't know if that's related because I always have back pain anyway. So, but it's in the grand scheme of things, it's better that it happened to me, where I could walk away, because if it was someone else, they might not have. So, praise God for that. So that's it for today. Day 6. We're tired. We're done. He's watching cartoons, and I'm gonna go set up my CPAP. I'm gonna go get ready for bed, and in all likelihood, I'm probably going to pass out within the next hour. So there's that. God bless you guys. Take care. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Remember that Jesus loves you, and so do I. All right. Later.